Hey guys, I'm back with a shiny new HD webcam and an awesome view of the window that you can kind of see. So the first resolution that Student Senate is voting on this week is regarding a bill going through the House of Representatives in Congress, bill number 2028, if that means anything to any of you. And basically what this bill would do would add student loan debt to the list of debts which are forgivable should you ever file for bankruptcy. Currently, they're not. So if you were to lose your job and have no way of paying for anything and have to file for bankruptcy, which would be a terrible occurrence. But were it to happen, things like your credit card debt, your medical bills, and personal loans of yours would be forgiven because you have no money to pay for them. That's why you filed for bankruptcy. However, student loans would not be forgiven, which is what this bill would change. So our resolution is in favor of this bill because as a college we like the idea of people who are unable to pay anything not having to pay back their student loans, as it would be a terrible burden for them should they be filing for bankruptcy. So yeah, that's that one. And the text will be right about now. So Student Senate Session 33, Resolution 13, introduced by first-year Senator 1 Brian Merrill, reads as follows. Whereas the University of New Hampshire, UNH, has the fourth highest in-state tuition and fee package in the nation for public universities, and whereas UNH currently has the lowest per capita support of higher education in the nation following New Hampshire legislature's 48% cut to the UNH's budget, and whereas state grants have not increased more than the average amount to compensate for this loss, and whereas most University of New Hampshire students need to take out at least some student loans due to the high cost of attending UNH, and whereas, because of the high cost of attendance, University of New Hampshire students are often incapable of paying back these loans on time or at all, and thus are delinquent on their loans or default on them. And whereas, although Title 11 of the current United States Code currently includes credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, and other serious debts as unsecured debt that may be forgiven by filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, student loans are exempt. And whereas, the exemption of student loans from bankruptcy forgiveness creates a situation in which young students, especially UNH students, can be mired in an unmanageable debt if a disastrous situation occurs, leaving them unable to pay off their student loans, let alone their living expenses. And whereas credit debtors, many of whom run up debt via extraneous purchases, have this option while struggling UNH students who are paying for higher education do not. And whereas, though bankruptcy should only be a viable financial strategy in extreme cases, UNH students should have this option in emergencies if the interest of fairness and non-discrimination. Whereas H.R. 2028, Private Student Loan Bankruptcy Fairness Act of 2011, hereafter H.R. 2028, would amend Title 11 of the U.S. Code to include student loans as forgivable unsecured debt, and whereas the previous and identical versions of this resolution, H.R. 5043, Private Student Loan Bankruptcy Fairness Act of 2010, hereafter H.R. 5043, was declared dead because it did not come up for debate in time. And whereas the subcommittee that H.R. 2028 has been sitting in since May 26, 2011, passed the identical H.R. 5043 with 6 yeas and 3 nays last session. Therefore, be it resolved by the University of New Hampshire Student Senate to urge the United States Congress Judiciary Committee to expediently rush a decision upon H.R. 2028, considering its identical content to a previous resolution, and be it further resolved by the University of New Hampshire Student Senate to urge the U.S. Speaker to bring H.R. 2028 for debate before the session ends so that it does not require reintroduction again, and be it further resolved to encourage members of the 112th U.S. Congress to support H.R. 2028 if it is passed through the Judiciary Committee and brought up for debate for the sake of struggling students at UNH and nationwide. So that's our first bill this week. Feel free to leave comments. You might notice that this is on this is on YouTube this time. It's off-sourced, and that's exciting.